Hello, welcome to our final, very last video for this kindergarten year. Thanks for joining me all these different times. Most of them will be up there so you can go back every now and then and do some phonics during the summer to refresh your memory. So, and I do want to thank you for all the work you did at home, boys and girls. I know it hasn't been very easy. Some things are more fun at home. But boy, I've missed being in the classroom. So, thanks for all your hard work. And you need to give your moms and dads and whoever was helping you this quarter with all your schoolwork, give them a great big hug and a big thank you. All right? Because I sure thank them for helping you out and keeping up with your kindergarten skills so you will be ready for first grade. So that reminds me, this summer, even though it's summer, you still need to keep reading and writing, practicing your math, practicing your sight words. You still need to do all of that so it's still fresh in your brain when you start first grade in the fall. All right. All right. Here we go. Oh, also, in your packets that you will get at the trunk trade next Tuesday or Thursday, whichever your parents come through, it will be your report card, your final report card. It will be, I will have a memory book in there that you can make. And there will be some learning mats. It's the same little mats from the very first 2 weeks that we were on this stay-at-home thing. You had these mats to do. So we'll have some summer mats just to help you keep your brains working over the summer. All right? And I have lots of other goodies in there from cleaning out my room, things that I won't need. So for first grade, it will look very different. Somebody different will be in my room. It could be there's new kindergarten teachers. We have Mrs. Royce. You all know Mrs. Royce. She's subbed for us a lot last year. She's going to be one of the new kindergarten teachers in place of me and Mrs. Kogo. And a new teacher, Miss Liddell, will also be there. And in first grade, you know Mrs. Hopecamp and Mrs. Culler are retiring. So 2 teachers that you already know from our building are going to be taking their places. So you know Mrs. Search, she's going to be one of the first grade teachers. And Miss Welker from pre-K is going to be one of the first grade teachers. So you never know. They might be one of yours. All right. Anyway, you all will have a new teacher in the fall. And I am so thankful and grateful that I got to know you and you were in my class this year. All right. Oh, okay, enough of that. Let's get on to the end of our President's book, First Kids. If you're listening to this, we are on the Kennedy Kids. Now, I stood up and I thought this was there, the Kennedy Kids. All right. There they are up top here. John Jr. was born just before the Kennedys moved into the White House. Everyone thought the new baby was good luck. The president nicknamed his son John John. John John had an older sister, 3-year-old Caroline. When Caroline arrived at the White House, it was winter, and the chief gardener made a huge snowman to greet her. Well, Caroline and John Jr. didn't have to go far to get to school. Just a short walk to the White House elevator and up one flight of. Caroline joined 11 other first graders, and John joined his nursery room classmates in their own private school on the 3rd floor. So they had their own private school in the White House. Well, kind of like you have your own private school now in your own house. But it's just you. They had a few other classmates with them. The children's playground was near President Kennedy's office. Caroline's favorite game there was jumping on the trampoline. After recess, their class liked to visit the president. His secretary always had candy for them on her desk. President Kennedy traveled a lot. When Caroline's classmates heard his helicopter, everyone shouted, "Your daddy's home!" They raced to the window and watch him land on the White House lawn. At story time, Caroline always asked for horse stories. She had her own pet horse named, do you remember? Macaroni. Her mother taught her to ride horseback. Sometimes Caroline was allowed to go to the White House parties. She helped her mother play hostess. Once the Marine Band played Caroline's favorite song, Old MacDonald Had a Farm. Caroline and John Jr. had 13 cousins. During the summer, they played together at their family home by the beach in Massachusetts. In the winter, back at the White House, Caroline and John Jr. missed their fun-loving cousins. But Caroline and John Jr. had something even better. Their father was just down the hall for a bedtime story and a good night hug every night. All right. And then we have President Johnson's girls. President Lyndon Baines Johnson was nicknamed LBJ, and everyone in his family had the same initials. His wife was Lady Bird. His daughters were Linda Bird Johnson and Lucy Baines Johnson. The president called Linda and Lucy my little girls. Lucy was 16 when her father became president. Right after moving into the White House, she started spelling her name Lucy with an I, L-U-C-I, instead of a Y. Lucy's first night in the White House, she had a sleepover. Her new room had a fireplace. When Lucy lit the fireplace, smoke filled the air. The girls shouted for help. They had forgotten to open the fireplace damper. Well, that's important too. That's happened in my house. Woo. 19-year-old Linda went to college in Washington, D.C. Linda and her friend, Worry Lynn, became roommates in the White House. The Secret Service followed Linda to her classes and everywhere she went. Lucy and Linda had their own Secret Service code names. Linda was Gypsy and Lucy was Venus. When Mrs. Johnson was sick, Linda took over the First Lady job. She read her father's speeches and she graded them with an A, B, or a C. Being the president's daughters made it hard to date, to go on dates with boys. Secret Service agents never left the girls alone, and some boys were frightened away. There they are with their Secret Service people. Both Linda and Lucy fell in love while living in the White House. Lucy married first. She had a big reception in the White House, and her sister Linda caught the bouquet, and it worked. Soon after, Linda got married in the White House too. So at a wedding, the bride has a special bouquet that she throws to all the single ladies, and whoever catches it is supposed to be the next one married. The last chapter is on Chelsea Clinton, President Bill Clinton's daughter. Most first kids have brothers or sisters to share the spotlight, but 12-year-old Chelsea Clinton was an only child, unless you count Socks, her black and white cat. Chelsea's first few months in the White House were tough. It felt like living in a big museum. She missed her grandparents and friends back in Little Rock, Arkansas. It was hard going to a new school. When Chelsea arrived, all the classroom doors had to be locked and everyone had to knock and give their names before entering. Some of Chelsea's classmates were mad at her for all those new rules. But it wasn't her fault, was it? After a while, everyone relaxed. There was no more locked doors and everyone got to know the president's daughter. And they found out she was just a regular kid. At school, Chelsea played soccer and baseball. Math and science were her best subjects. One Christmas, she danced in a ballet production of The Nutcracker. Her dream was to become an astronaut. On her 13th birthday, Chelsea had a big slumber party. She invited old friends from Little Rock, Arkansas, and new friends from Washington, D.C. The big mansion at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue was beginning to feel like home. That's the address of the White House. The Clintons tried to protect Chelsea from the media, but they couldn't stop all the TV and newspaper reporters. Hurtful stories came out about her hair and her braces. One time Chelsea fell asleep in church, and a photographer took a picture of her snoring. Oh, that was not kind. Chelsea got hundreds of fan letters. Kids from all over the United States tried to comfort her. They said they knew how she felt. Sometimes Chelsea wasn't sure if people really liked her or just liked being around the president's daughter. But she did know one thing for sure. She wouldn't give up being first kid for anything. Once a first kid, always a first kid. And there she is. She's now all grown up and married and has kids on her own. And she's not an astronaut. But, sometimes you have dreams and think you're going to grow up and be one thing, and then you grow up and you're something different, and that's okay. We all need to have dreams. All right, let's sing our song for the last time with me on this video. You can always visit it back if you want to sing it again, or go to Dr. Jean on YouTube. Here we go. History's full of people and times, but you can learn them with this rhyme. Presidents of the USA have made our country great today. Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, Adams, Jackson, Van Buren, Harrison, Tyler, Polk, Taylor, Fillmore, Pearson, Buchanan, Lincoln, Johnson, Grant, Hayes, Garfield, Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, McKinley, Roosevelt, Taft, Wilson, Harding, and Coolidge, Hoover, Roosevelt, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, and Trump. Those are our presidents. All right. Well, thank you for joining me today. And I will maybe see you around town sometime. Maybe see you when I pop into Eagleview next year. You just never know where you will see me. I hope you all have a wonderful summer. Keep learning. Bye-bye. Okay. Bye-bye.